It might fall on me to welcome you this morning. My name is Reverend Theresa Soto. I go by Ninán, that's my second name. And I am really glad to see you here in worship this morning, whether you are in Hamilton Hall, on Stitch, or even on Zoom. We are a congregation that comes together each week to ask and answer big questions, to welcome the multicultural, multi-generational, and multi-expressive of faith people that we are. In just a moment, we will continue with other details, but for our announcements this week, we ask you to check Chalice Chatter. If you need to sign up for that newsletter, you can do it from the website. Again, it's wonderful to be with you this morning, and welcome. In just a moment, we will begin to light candles to observe the variety of things that we hold dear. We begin with the peace candle this morning. Words from Albert Camus. Peace is the only battle worth waging. And while he uses a bit of a metaphor here about war, I also invite us to expand this to the way we have to work against the forces that would shrink or quiet peace. That's worthy work, and as a congregation, part of what we reach for. Now, we light the Black Lives Matter candle together. We light this candle today as a witness that represents the unquenchable fire for justice for Black people that burns in our hearts and guides our actions as a congregation. Will you join me in saying together, Black Lives Matter? Once more, Black Lives Matter. Thank you. Now we will continue with lighting the chalice.
I'm Emily Stoper. I'm your worship associate today. And let's do our chalice lighting words. You can say them along with me and also the motions. We light this chalice, symbol of Unitarian Universalism. May it remind us of the divine spark in all of creation, of the power of love to heal what is broken, and to be grateful for life's blessings each day. And now, I invite you to join together and open your hearts to the magnificence and beauty of the sun, of giant trees, of the sky, of the sea, and of the cradle that is the whole universe. It is our capacity to experience all of that in awe and gratitude that I call worship. So come, let us worship together, and in one voice, the people say, Come, let us worship together.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Susan Keiter. I have the privilege of playing the piano and singing hymns with you this morning. Evidently, this first hymn, We Are, is a bit tricky, and I guess it's usually done at Christmas, and I didn't know that. I thought it was perfect for today about preparing for delight. Since it's a little bit tricky, what we're going to do is just go over the words first, and then we're going to sing the chorus together, and I encourage you to mumble and fumble along as we go through it and enjoy it in whatever way you can. Everyone is invited to lift their voices. So let's just say the words together. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Good. This is what it sounds like. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Try that with me, please. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Great. Just FYI, if you want to sing along, it helps if you sit up in your chair, feel your feet on the ground, and let the Spirit fill you. Here we go. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. Here comes the part that you know. I invite you to stand in body and or spirit in whatever way helps fill you with spirit. Here we go. We're going to sing it twice. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Nice job. Please be seated.
Now's the time in our service when we have just a moment to greet one another. So before we do that, though, just take a moment, look around. If you're on Zoom, just look at that set of boxes. On Twitch, we are here with you. And now, please prepare. Say hello to one another. Remember to ask before hugging. Just say, hey, are you hugging today? Would you like a fist bump? And it's wonderful to see you. for more conversation and connection as the service proceeds. In just a moment, we'll have a quick reflection on what is worship and why do we do it. We're laying the groundwork for the bigger question of opportunity for delight in the congregation. Here we go. What is worship? Why does it matter? Let's find out. Some people relate to God as a person. Other people think of God as a force in the universe. Other people, when they think about what matters most in life, don't think about God at all, but they think about the choices they make, how they treat other people, and how to make the world a better place. One very important thing about Unitarian Universalism is that people who think of God in all different ways or who don't make God an important part of their seeking are all welcome here. They're all welcome in this congregation. Reverend Nancy MacDonald Ladd says that the fundamental task of worship is meaning-making in community. So meaning-making is asking big questions and searching for big answers. And the part that makes it church is we do it together. So when we worship, we're wondering about how to be better in the world as people and how we can make the world a better place, whether or not the people that we are in community with believe in God or good ideas or even something else, or a combination of the two. Unitarian Universalist worship doesn't mean that we say something else is more important than we are, but that we search together. What are your big questions? What is worth your attention and effort? Let's dig in and find out. Let's dig in and explore. And we're really grateful to have Emily Stoper bring a reflection. Thank you, Emily.
Hi, everybody. I was raised by a couple of raving atheists, so I never thought I'd actually go to a religious service and like it. Well, that was before I found Unitarian Universalism and before I entered this beautiful building on the corner of 14th and Castro. The very first time I visited this church, right around this time of year, back in 1999, I discovered that I really liked attending a Sunday morning service. I liked the sermon, even though I didn't learn a single fact from it, but it gave me meaning. It offered a story that was filled with insight and inspiration. I usually enjoy most of the spoken words during the service, but frankly, that has never been the main appeal. It's the other elements that keep me coming. First, this room, the beauty, the peacefulness, the comfort offered by Hamilton Hall, and the presence of all you beloved people in it. I attended services regularly on Zoom when that's all there was, but to me, it's just not the same as being here in Hamilton Hall. The service feels so much more like an experience of real community when I'm here in person. Second, the music. I have loved the great variety of music offered by this church. Classical music, blues, folk, even gospel. The music often seems to reach out to me, sometimes to comfort me when I feel sorrow, sometimes to inspire me to action, sometimes to give me joy. It feels much more meaningful than music in a concert or via the various tech means by which we hear music. The music here often feels like a call to a new community and a new vision. I'm talking about both the performed music and the hymns that we sing. As I sing hymns here, I've always felt that my voice is a welcome part of the communal voice, which is pretty amazing because I am a lousy singer. Yet, no one here has ever reproached me for not hitting the right notes. Now, that happens to me a lot when I sing elsewhere, but the atmosphere of this room offers a special protection, so I can sing out and really feel a part of the harmony of this community. And then there are the rituals that we do every week. The candle lightings, the chalice lighting hand movements that we just did this morning, like this and that, and especially the greetings of neighbors that we just did, the sharing of joys and sorrows that we'll do very shortly, even the collection of money and the traditional way the ushers move around, and then the group recitation of the congregational covenant. All of these things just deepen my sense of being part of a real community. Now, I can't leave this subject without mentioning our special services, the communions. I especially love the bread communion that we usually have the Sunday before Thanksgiving. We offer each other delicious bread and grape juice across a beautifully decorated table. And the taste of that bread in my mouth always leaves me feeling at one with everyone in the room and with all other human beings and with all of nature. And all of this wonderful stuff that I've been talking about is wrapped up in a package of hugs that I receive every Sunday, both before and after the service. Well, what could be bad? I know you can't all get here. I know it's impossible for some people to get here. But if you can, I'd love to see you here in this room. This next Sunday, and the one after that, and forever. Why not?
Why not?
Now we're going to sing Gathered Here. I invite you to enter into a contemplative place. Just maybe feeling in your body, feeling the chair underneath you. We're going to sing this 3 times, so if you don't know it already, you have a chance to get to know it. And as Emily just said, every voice is important. So if you sing off pitch, please sing loudly. I will be listening for you and loving you in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Lovely. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near.
Allow your breath to be in your body. Feel your hands. Feel your face. Feel your chair holding you up. In just a moment, we'll invite you to speak names into the room of people you're holding in your heart, whether for joy or sorrow. We'd ask that you just keep it to a few words, because we want to keep the air of receiving what you offer. And let's begin. In just a moment, we'll share the response as a congregation, which is, we hold them in our care. Let's say that together now. We hold them in our care. I invite you now to join me in a spirit of prayer or meditation. Rest. When we come together as a congregation, we sometimes don't share the things that are on our hearts. In this moment, I lift up the secret sorrow. I lift up the secret joy. The names that have been spoken, the names that people still carry, we wrap those in care, connection, and compassion. We know, too, that we sit here on Sunday morning in relative peace in a world that is in significant pain. We lift up those connections. We offer them compassion and care. We know that our world suffers from disconnection, from fear, from isolation. We wrap those things in compassion and care. There is much we must do, but one, each to the other, we give one another compassion and care. For all these things, we give thanks and we say, Amen. As we talk about worship today, I got to spend some time with our religious educator, Jeffrey Melcher, this week. And he shared with me a story about making meaning and awe that I asked him to prepare so that you could receive it as well. And let's do that now.
Good morning. I want to share a fun little story about a little adventure I had in my kitchen the other day. I was making breakfast and some leftover roasted vegetables, some fried tofu, and some hot sauce and some cheese all kind of mixed up together. And I got my bowl and I picked it up off on the counter, and there was this little cabbage moth under the bowl. I have no idea how it got there. So I was like, I'm going to get it outside. So I go ahead and reach down to pick it up, and it flies up into my hand. Well, I just hold it loosely in my little finger cage, walk over to the door, and open the door. And just before I release it, I just have this thought to give it a blessing, and may you find freedom and peace until your life transition into death and the unknown. And then my brain, because I've been practicing some mindfulness, my brain automatically did a tag and said, and may you represent freedom and freedom from suffering for all the people that I know, people that I'm having trouble with, just everybody. Just let it go. And I opened my hand and it fluttered away. So there's just this tiny little minor miracle. Don't know. And this morning I saw a cabbage moth outside. I don't know if it's the same one. Maybe it's the season. How did it get in my kitchen? Don't know. Anyway, it made the start for a great day, and just choosing to enjoy that moment, and I wanted to share that with you.
I'm grateful to imagine that in a moment like that, we can return to our values, return to our compassion, and share it. When he told me that story, one of the things that Jeff said was this: how do we normalize miracles? Do you know what I did when he said that? I wrote it in my notebook. How do we normalize miracles? Listen, the word I want to bring you today is about just that. It's about the miracle that you are as a congregation. So let's do it. The mausoleum of Galla Placidia, Roman lady, still stands in Ravenna, Italy. Listen, you better not tell me this is a lecture, because it's not. It's a story. Are you ready? All right. She was a powerful woman. She was the daughter of Emperor Theodosius, the sister of Honorius, and she built many buildings in Ravenna. It was the western capital of the Holy Roman Empire. Don't worry, that's as far as we're going. Historians no longer believe that she's buried there. But one of the special things about it is the original mosaics are completely intact. Let's go forward a slide. See that? That's grapevines. Small pieces of brightly colored glass, or even gold leaf trapped between pieces of glass. Each of these pieces is called a tessera. Let's go forward one more. Blue, red, green, gold. But visitors who have admired the mosaics and travel books might be disappointed when they enter the mausoleum. The building has tiny windows, and what light does enter is usually blocked by tourists. That's fair. The most artistically perfect mosaic, the vision of the Good Shepherd in a starry paradise, it's hidden behind a veil of darkness. Let's go forward one more slide. There's that shepherd. And you can learn critique about how it's perfectly balanced. There's 3 sheep on each side. But our interest is that people who find this small, because it really looks like a post office. It's a small brick building. The church that used to be beside it is no longer there. If they leave early because it doesn't look that great, they're going to miss a stunning unveiling. With no advance notice, spotlights near the ceiling turn on when a tourist manages to drop a coin into a small metal box along the wall. The lights illuminate the iridescent tiles of the mosaic, but only for a few seconds. One visitor described the experience this way: the lights come on for a brief moment, the briefest of moments. The eye doesn't have time to take it all in. The eye casts about. The dull, hot darkness overhead becomes a starry sky, a dark blue cupola with, I said that wrong, sorry, but I'm not going back, with huge shimmering stars that seem startlingly close. Ah, comes the sound from below. That's amazing! Then the light goes out. And there's darkness, and it's darker than it was before. The burst of light repeats over and over, paused by the darkness of unpredictable length. Each time the lights come on, the visitors are given another glimpse of the world behind the shadows, and eyes capture another element previously unseen. Deer drinking from springs, Jesus gently reaching out to his sheep that look lovingly at their shepherd. After seeing the mosaic, one visitor wrote, "I have never seen anything so sublime in my life." This is a remarkable embodiment of awe and beauty. But one of the meanings that we can make together additionally is that our opportunities to make meaning together also reveal the wisdom that people in our community hold, both individually and in shared experiences and expressions. We might also ask ourselves more precisely how the mausoleum, named after Galla Placidia, can inspire and strengthen our practice of worship as Unitarian Universalists. Let's start with a foundational question. Do Unitarian Universalists worship God? Some people may. But there are two reasons why this isn't a requirement in Unitarian Universalist community. The first is that we embrace pluralist practice, which means that we affirm our congregational covenant, as in our covenant, when we promise to value and speak our truth and uphold the truths spoken by others in our common search for meaning. Ibu Patel, American Hindu, the founder of Interfaith Youth Corps, shares his perspective on multi-faith connection this way. I am an American Muslim. I believe in pluralism. In the Holy Quran, God tells us, "I created you into diverse nations and tribes that you may come to know one another." I believe America is humanity's best opportunity to make God's wish that we know one another come true. Let's go forward a slide. In my office hangs Norman Rockwell's illustration, Freedom of Worship. A Muslim holding a Quran in his hands stands near a woman holding her rosary. Other figures have their hands folded in prayer and their eyes filled with piety. They stand shoulder to shoulder, facing in the same direction, comfortable with the presence of one another, and yet apart. It is a vivid depiction of a group living in peace with its diversity, yet not exploring it. We live in a world where the forces that seek to divide us are strong. To overcome them, Patel says, we must do more than simply stand next to one another in silence. Patel's words are a call to us to participate in interconnected spiritual and ethical practice. As a community and as people, we cannot claim an interconnected practice if we require theism, but the same is true if we refuse it. The second reason that in this community we do not find value in worship through directing it to God is that interbeing in our community goes beyond dogma to large questions of what it means to be human and to build the world we dream about together. White Unitarian leader and minister Reverend William Schultz offers that in the third and fourth decades of the 20th century, some heard Nietzsche's call and heeded Nietzsche's question. Their story is the story of religious humanism, a religious movement that emphasized human capabilities. especially the human capacity to reason, that the right of all humans to develop their full potential. It is the story of a movement that sought to construct what Reverend John Dietrich called a religion without God, shifting the focus of religious faith from divinity to humanity. Clergy and journalists, philosophers and scientists banded together, refusing to believe that human beings could not be saved and insisting that they themselves would be the instrument of salvation. In this way, we find ourselves talking about worship as more than an either-or, and more like an entire array of expressions of spirit and truth. As Unitarian Universalists, we are called to more than a pre-processed, palatable faith. And here I use faith to include grounding that includes God and that which doesn't. Author Annie Dillard, who's white and lives in New England, put it this way: why do people in church seem like cheerful tourists on a package tour of the absolute? Does anyone have the foggiest idea of what sort of power we blithely invoke? Or, as I suspect, does no one believe a word of it? The churches are children playing on the floor with their chemistry sets, mixing up a batch of TNT to kill a Sunday morning. It is madness to wear straw hats and velvet hats to church. We should all be wearing crash helmets. Ushers should issue life preservers and signal flares. They should lash us to our pews, for the sleeping God may wake someday and take offense, or the waking God may draw us to where we can never return. She's extreme in that image, huh? But she's calling you to something. This way, we enter into this power, and it is by this means, as a community. And you already understand part of what you must do. It is shared ministry. By sharing the work of this ministry and by our intentional choices to build a community. Why do we do this? Why? Vietnamese Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh offers insight with the idea of interbeing. He says, I like the word togetherness, but I finally came up with interbeing. The verb to be can be misleading because we cannot be by ourselves alone. To be is always to interbe. If we combine the prefix inter with the verb be, we have a new verb, interbe. To interbe and the action of interbeing reflects reality more accurately. We inter-are with one another and with all life. He sums up this idea with one line. Everything relies on everything else in order to manifest. Let's go ahead and try that on together. Everything relies on everything. Are you there? All right, let's do it again. I'll go slower. Everything relies on everything else in order to manifest. We can pause here to specify that manifest here doesn't mean to concoct or manipulate, as you may hear it sometimes. Rather, in the context of interbeing and replanting your community, manifest means to make real. And that is something completely within your power. The verb worship that we're talking about, this interbeing, this creating, means to shape worth. The meaning suggests the purpose of worship, to come to be equal to, or to turn to the highest or best values. To worship is to give useful, instructive shape to those abstract values, to symbolize or articulate them in memorable and helpful ways. We create and we cut back symbols and words we use in worship according to their usefulness. They are never fixed, but they do endure as they serve the purpose of showing us the good we strive to, or binding of a worshiping community together. That's a reminder from Reverend Paul R. Beadle. He's a white minister in Texas. There is a longing in this community from elders, leaders, and congregants for a worship team that brings this variety of perspectives, this commitment to value our own truth and that of others, and a team willing to lead forward into the power of what worship can be. Just as the visitors to the mausoleum could catch glimpses of beauty from different angles, let's go back 2 slides. It is this team that will take worship beyond routine into awe, beyond duty into creating, and by that creation, move the congregation into closer connection with its vision and mission. The team is one of the key ways in which the community embraces the fullness of its best self, the best version of this community. There is a lot about this community that is as utterly beautiful as a vaulted mosaic made of tiny pieces of glass tilted to catch the light. What I want to tell you is one of the most sacred trusts of the Worship Associates team, because it is so important, and we need to be on the same page about it. Let's pause. Pause. If you will, if it serves you, take a smooth, easy breath. One of the central tasks of the worship team is to push back, as Reverend Lancey MacDonald Ladd says, on the fundamental alienation and disconnection of this age. One of the fundamental tasks of the worship team is to push back on the fundamental alienation and disconnection of this age. The inverse of this is that it won't mean what you need it to mean if the assumption is that the minister can do this by themselves. I cannot. Even if it were possible to go through the actions and elements that create a service without a team that moves together, we cannot harness the power of that stream of multiple voices and perspectives without a team in place. It is, as we learned earlier from Thich Nhat Hanh, you remember this part, everything relies on everything else in order to manifest. You are the mosaic tiles. You are the tessera. Each piece is required to bring the entire picture, the totality of beauty. It is my role to be with you, to coach, to remind, to imagine the things that are possible, but which we haven't tried yet, and more, to remind you to rest, to stay alert for complication, to offer you means of love and care and connection. And while you haven't so much had a chance to get to know me yet, you are now. I think there has been some worry that I want to boss you around. And maybe that some of the time, that means that it seems better to preemptively boss or not assume that collaboration is possible. That doesn't have to be part of what we worry about. We can always be clear. You are the tessera. I am also the Tessara. And now is the time for us to combine our powers of making meaning together, of shared beauty and possibility, to replant our congregation, to bring the old that we treasure and the new that we seek. We can do this together. Abigail and Sean Benson are a folk rock duo that has made a lot of music during the pandemic. They have a series called Sovereignty Hymns. Hymns 4 and 5 include collaboration with Adrienne Marie Brown. The Bensons are always extremely generous with their music as published. So next week we'll include the hymns. But today, we include a riff. I'm gonna need your help. Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay, thanks. It was real, I really do need it. Okay, so it's gonna start like this. Just copy me, okay? I need a new ritual. I need a new ritual. Okay, I'm gonna close my eyes and go. I need a new ritual. I need a new prayer. I need a new ritual. I need a new prayer. I need a new ritual. I need a new prayer. I need a new ritual. I need a new prayer. All right, so over here, y'all are the I need a new ritual folks. Y'all are the I need a new prayer folks. Let's try it. Ritual folks, you're gonna have to belt it out a little louder for the balance. All right, so you guys do it. And then I'll add some verses. I'm only gonna add about 3 today, but we'll do it. All right, you ready?
A new ritual.
I need a new prayer. You gotta keep going. I need a fire to tell my stories to. I need a new ritual. I need a new prayer. I need a bowl to put my tears into, to let them roll into the ocean. I need a new ritual. I need a new prayer. I need a new worship team that will carry the story. I need a new ritual. I need a new prayer. I need us to shine our light together. I need a new ritual. I need a new prayer. Alrighty. So, this is what we do. Our meaning is what we find together. And I'm going to tell you the truth is truth. And it is this. When I kept going during the pandemic, when Stefan and Susan and Renee and Vincent, bless his patient soul, worked so hard to do those services, when you weren't available to bring your light, that wasn't a good thing. But we all needed to end up here on this day. And so we did our best. But I had the experience of being in continuous recruitment without that team. And so I couldn't be with you the way I'd want to if I need to make phone call after phone call after phone call and worry about how we're distributing the work together. You don't want to do that anymore. You don't. I can do it. I have to do it if you don't show up. But let's imagine what that is. It's really not my church. I'm here to be with you. And so when I tell you that I need a fire to tell my stories to, it's partly because I need you to be there. I need you to come. I need you to bring the light that you want to shine, because I can't make that part up. You get that, right? I can't make it up for you. I can bring you something. And then you'll say, but that's not my thing. And I'll say, that's right, because I need you to bring your thing. You are beautiful. You are brave. You are strong. You have made it this far. And we don't know what's coming next. Raise your hand if you're annoyed by that. Yeah. But here, not only do you bring meaning, you mean a lot. And there's no way that I can give up on the vision that you are, on the vision that you have for Oakland, California. But we have to do it together. Have you ever heard anybody say, well, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to fight about it? Have you ever heard anybody say that? Sometimes we have to fight about it. But what I would say to you is that it matters most if we fight on the same side, right? And we fight for things that we really care about. And so those are the things I want you to carry away with you today. When I tell you that I need a new ritual, it's a new building way. And it doesn't mean we're going to throw the old things in the garbage. That's not what it means. But we have to bring it all together. And when I tell you that we need a team, because it's not for me to do by myself, and I'm not literally by myself, but when I'm talking about bringing that streams of perspectives, that's a group thing. So we've been doing worship planning on the second Tuesday of each month. What happens if we build that team out is people get to enjoy their experience more, and you get to enjoy it too. So what will happen next? When I send out planting seeds, gathering fruit this week, there'll be some important questions. There'll be some important opportunities. It matters enough for us to fight on the same side about it. I would ask you to read the whole thing, give your input, and let us take it from there. That's the yes I'm looking for. So if you have a yes, let's see. What do I want you to do with your yes? I want you to put it in your hand. And I want you to rub it on your fingers. Because those are the fingers you're going to use to answer the email. Right? Right. Listen, I'm so grateful. I'm so pleased and proud of your possibility and your opportunity and your values. I'm going to wrap it up here, but I want you to know that I love you and I believe in you. And the way we struggle is on the same side and forward. Ready? Yes. Great. All right, well, let's go ahead. Next, we'll be singing The Fire of Commitment. It's a beautiful song. Are you ready? You told me you were ready for other things. I hope you're ready for this.
How y'all doing out there? All right. Take a nice breath. All right. This is a fun song. I hope that you enjoy it, and I hope that you'll sing along. From the light of days remembered comes a beacon bright and clear, building hands and hearts to fear it into faith set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our minds and soul ablaze, then our hunger and our passion need to call us on our way. When we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, and our promise finds fulfillment, and our future can begin. From the stories of our living rings a song of brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment, and our future can begin. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which demands a deeper justice built by our courageous choice. When the fire of commitment sets our minds and souls ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment, and our future can begin.
Susan. Right now, I'm excited to welcome Stefan for a special announcement. Thank you, Stefan.
Good morning, everybody. So I have actually 3 announcements. One of them is choir is starting back up, and so we have our first choir rehearsal on Wednesday, the 31st, this next coming Wednesday, at 7 o'clock in the Star King room. Don't need to audition. If you want to sing with the choir, just show up, and we're going to have a good year with the choir. Also, Joyful Noise starts up September 11th. If you're interested in playing and singing with Joyful Noise, just contact me and we'll see if we can work that out. The final announcement that I have is that I'm going to retire. I came to work here when I was 50 years old in 1999, and in November I turned 72, and so I have 23 years of service to this community, and it's just time in my life to start a new phase. There's 4 things that y'all need to know. One is I'm not leaving until June 4th of 2023. So we have 9 months to find new people, all that other stuff. So I'm committed to 9 months to staying. Number 2 is we have plenty of time within that to fellowship and to party and do whatever we need to do in the transition. Number 3 is I'm not moving. I live here. This is my home. So I will still be around, and I'm also keeping my membership in the church. So I will be able to attend services and maybe come and sing in the choir on occasion, or even over there. So, and the 4th thing that you need to know is that the board of directors, Reverend Soto, the operations team, are all working to make this a seamless transition. And we've already been working on plans for replacements and job interviews. One of the things we're going to be doing is involving a lot of congregants in the decision-making process. Because after all, we are all in this together, just as Reverend Soto stated. We are a team, we are a church together, so we'll make the transition easy. So, hard announcement for me to make. I've dedicated myself for this, so this church, and then I'll be able to spend a few Sundays up in the High Sierras and do church up there. So, thank you very much.
Will you give Stefan some arm hearts, and some applause? Yeah. So grateful for Stefan's ministry, and we will make the most of this year and celebrate, appreciate, and connect all around. Emily, will you just go ahead and call the ushers forward, please?
He'll still be here.
Yeah.
We'll still have Stefan.
Be here. That's right.
We're just going to have a new choir director and a new facilities manager. Hard to imagine.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm supposed to be giving the invitation to generosity. So asking people to donate to this congregation is kind of a paradoxical thing. I'm asking you all to give us some of your money, but religion isn't about money. I mean, religions even warn us to avoid avarice and not to care too much about money. Religions often see money as dangerous, even filthy lucre. So what we hope to get in return for our money is something sublime, a connection to life as a whole, a sense of meaning, a relationship with a caring community, guidance for our children, compassion for our sorrows, paths for doing good in the world, a feeling of joy and uplift. Well, those are the things I hope for in the church and often get. Well, all this is literally priceless, which means it cannot be bought with money. Yet, it makes total sense for me to ask you to support this church financially. That's because what money can do is pay the salaries of people who devote themselves to furthering these values and provide for the upkeep of this beautiful building and everything in it. So whatever you give goes to our highest values. Please put something in the basket as it goes around, or give generously using one of the ways shown on the screen. Will the ushers please come forward?
Such beauty. Thank you, Susan. Go ahead, Emily. She's got you. Thank you for coming forward. Here we go. To the work of the church, which is weaving a tapestry of love we call community, we dedicate ourselves and these our offerings. Amen. Thank you to Bill and Jody for their care. I want to close today with words from Gwendolyn Brooks. She's writing about Paul Robeson. Paul Robeson, who would not give up, who would not be diminished. He's the voice in the poem, but also your voice must not give up. It must not be diminished. These are the words. That time we all heard it, cool and clear, cutting across the hot grit of the day. The major voice, the adult voice, forgotten rolling river, foregoing tearful tale of bale and barge and other symptoms, an old despond. Warning in music words. This is the warning, devout and large, that we are each other's harvest. We are each other's business. We are each other's magnitude and bond. Go in peace. Practice love. Return in joy. Amen. After this, at 12:15, we will have a finance update both in the Star King room and in Zoom. So I hope to see you there. Have a wonderful week.